Hi everyone, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back.
Fertility podcast episode 2.
We've made it to episode 2.
It almost wasn't. It almost wasn't an episode 2.
No.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Just want to touch on something that we didn't do last time. We never once introduced ourselves nor said our names. So hi everyone, I'm Nick. If you are new here, hi.
And I'm Mark. Even if you're not new here.
And also, yes, we are a married couple. If you can hear some snifflings or, baby sounds, this is Remy. He's our 3.5-month-old, and we've got a 2 3/4 year.
2 years and 9 months old boy.
Yeah.
Jack's
upstairs in bed. So that is us. I don't know whether we were supposed to say all that, but I think that sums us up, does it not? I put a question box out on Fitility UK, which is our Instagram account, earlier this week, asking for your questions relating to things weight loss, and that's what this week's episode is going to be on, pretty much. I have kind of been on I've been on a lot of different weight loss journeys.
Do you think it's important to maybe start from when you were young? Because I feel like that's something you've always spoke to me about, where you've always, for as long as you can remember, being on a diet. So maybe let's
go all the way back.
Go all the way back. And where did it all start?
Welcome to therapy. I think because my mum and dad have always dipped in and out of the diet world, it's been very much present in my life since I was a child. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. My mum and dad were doing the best that they could do for themselves. And, the things that were available in the 90s that they were doing were like Slimming World or Atkins or even possibly Slim Fast. Those are the ones that I probably remember the most from my childhood. But obviously with that comes general healthy eating or like whatever. So I was a bigger kid, not massive, not skinny, never been skinny, never been super lean in my life really. And honestly, I thought it was impossible for me. I kind of written that off for myself. But yeah, growing up, I remember moving school I was in year 5, and the school I moved to, you had to take packed lunches, which was bizarre because my old school was proper school dinner kind of place. But you knew different because you also went to that primary school. And did you think it was weird that you had to take packed lunches or no?
No, it was all I knew, so it didn't really register for me. It never felt out of the ordinary that I had to take packed lunches at all.
Yeah.
I don't think my family would have been able to afford all of us to have school dinners.
Yeah, you are one of 4.
Were they given at your old school? Did you have to pay for them?
I haven't got a clue. So yeah, I remember sitting at this table with a bunch of girls that were new to me. In year 5. How old are you in year 5? Like 9. And then be like, classic 2000, early 2000 packed lunch is a sandwich, chocolate bar, crisps, right?
Oh yeah.
Pre, healthy packed
Jamie
lunches,
Oliver.
really. Yeah, pre Jamie Oliver. And I had carrot sticks in my lunchbox, which to me was a totally normal snack. Still is. Great snack. Jax loves them.
Yeah.
And they were like, why are you eating carrot sticks? You know how kids can be. I was like, because I'm on a diet. And that is just something that sticks in my memory. There's nothing else about packed lunches. I even remember what my lunchbox looked like. There was a lunchbox. Do you remember like a lunchbox with a handle on?
Mm-hmm.
So mine didn't open in one. So each side had like 4 compartments in. Probably a Woolworths special. And I was never a pink girly, so it was like turquoise and grey or turquoise and black or something like that. So yeah, I had like my carrot stick compartment. And these girls just made a comment about it, and I'd never really, it wasn't weird to me to say things like that. But then looking back, I'm like, I'm 9 years old. Why was I saying those words? And again, this is nothing, because I'm sure my mum listens to this. Like, this is nothing to suggest that she did anything wrong. You know, it was just what I saw. It was just environmental. So yeah, kind of since then, there's been like dippings in and out of dieting, like throughout my teenage years. I don't even want to say it because it like gives people bad ideas when it comes to like food disorders. But like, I don't think I ever had a food disorder.
No.
You've known, like, we've been together since I was 14, and I feel like you know me inside and out.
I feel like you've got an incredible relationship with food.
Yeah, so I think we should like start with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to like say all the things I've done and people to think, oh my God, that is not okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm fully aware of that, and I do have a really good relationship with food.
Yeah. Right now, I don't know. Obviously, I can't speak for your state of mind back then, but like, are you? What were you about to say? The Cocoa Pops thing.
The Cocoa Pops
Right,
thing.
okay, I think you should say that.
So I was in secondary school. So I think we were probably going out. So I was probably 14, and I was taking like a Tupperware of Cocoa Pops to school, banking my £3 that my mum and dad had given me for lunch.
£3 a day, honestly, what I'd do with £3 a day.
And there's 3 of us. It costs a fortune to feed these kids.
Absolutely balling.
Can you imagine how much it's going to cost to feed these pair, boys? It costs us that much and more now in just strawberries.
Yep.
And that's only one of them.
I know, frightening.
Anyway, so yeah, I'd take my Cocoa Pops, bank my cash for the weekend, and then buy a 20p milk carton from a fridge at school dinner. So I went with my friends, sit at the school dinners, and just eat my Cocoa Pops. And I remember I used to like say to my friends, don't let me buy a cookie today. Don't let me buy X today.
Do you feel like you had any kind of understanding of like why you were doing what you were doing and like what the end goal was?
No, I don't. I don't know why I thought that way. I think it was always like, oh, it's puppy fat. There was always like comments like that floating around between people, and yeah, I think it was probably a self thing. Had an uncle that would make comments about weight, but otherwise no one else had ever, I recall, or it doesn't stick in my mind. I don't remember anything coming to mind that makes me feel that way. It was probably just the way I felt about myself, and yeah, I don't know. I was never comfortable in like jeans and dresses and stuff. I was quite a tomboy growing up, and joggers were my safe place.
Yeah.
I was a jogger girl. You know, and I was always into football, and I was always into sports and stuff like that. So I liked to be active, but always loved sports. I just kind of did what I thought was right at the time for myself. I had a workout DVD. I think it was called Hot Pants.
I remember.
It was a pirate DVD also.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're really aging this conversation right now.
So yeah, I used to come home, do Hot Pants.
This is I don't want this to come across like weird, but I feel like I remember that the woman was wearing silver hot pants in
gold.
The gold. Okay.
Do you know what? The picture of her was gold, but like they were wearing like little metallic hot pants in the video.
Yeah, bizarre.
It was bizarre because at that time I didn't realise that lifting weights was a thing, or it wasn't an option for me readily. I wasn't seeing women lifting weights when I was a teenager, unfortunately. Definitely not the way it's portrayed now, and especially like with social media and stuff, it's so easy to have access to everything.
There's a lot more information. There's better knowledge now, isn't there?
We were reading magazines, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all know how things were portrayed back then in magazines and stuff like that, and in the news, and you know, whatever we were reading at the time. they were tearing people down for the minorest things,
Yeah.
giving people, making children and making women particularly feel dreadful about themselves.
Yeah, you'd see like the magazines where they'd like catch a celebrity on a beach in a bikini, and it would just be like them
Oh,
trying to pick the worst
yeah.
shots ever, and yeah, plaster it all over the front pages. It's just shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, really
Really, because
shocking.
you think like that's like obviously horrendous for that person to see, and then but then I suppose you're thinking like the people that consume that, both I remember seeing those images. So as a
Yeah.
guy, that kind of like frames you as going, well, that's bad,
Yeah.
because the wording around it is like, well,
Unattractive.
yeah, exactly, yeah. The wording that they try and use around it is to
Yeah.
make it feel like that is unattractive. They do like cellulite shots
I know.
on people, and it's like fucking hell, that's just normal.
I know.
But like, and also like that's not bad,
No.
But it's like that. You almost have to like, sort of deep dive into your own brain and just like deconstruct all the things that like the
You've ever
media has
seen.
made you feel like,
Yeah.
as even as a guy, like what's your standard of sexy like in a
Yeah.
woman, because the media will make you think it's XYZ, right?
Yeah.
And then you only get to like, I don't know, your 20s and 30s where you start to realize what you actually do like. If you
Yeah.
get to that point, I reckon a lot of guys out there have just got they've just had a picture painted for them, and that's what they're expecting. And those standards are put on women.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, it works both ways as well. But yeah, it's you
But
think
that's
about
where,
those articles, it's
yeah.
shocking. Like it's so
But
bad.
then with that article, then followed by an advert for Slimming World or Thin
Yeah,
Fast,
yeah,
or it's all marketing.
yeah.
So yeah, I've kind of dipped in and out of weight loss and weight gain over the years. I'm 31 now. I'd like to say I've tried most things when it comes to weight loss. I've done Slimming World. I've done boot camps. I've done gluten free. I've done fat free. I've done low carb. I've done 5-2.
Fat freeze,
I've done a fat freeze. I've done cellulite bloody roller suction thing.
skinny tea.
I've done skinny tea. I've done tablets. Took tablets.
Mm.
And there was something on telly the other night, wasn't there, about drugs you can get nowadays?
Yeah, they're gonna come out more and more.
And it's
Definitely.
actually scary. It's actually scary what's available to people, kids, to anybody that can just go online and just order them.
Yeah.
If you
Finally.
have money, any kind of money, even if you're a teenager, got access to your mum and dad's card, or if you've got savings, birthday money, whatever, these kids can be ordering these tablets.
Yeah, if you've got your lunch money that you're not spending.
Exactly. And God knows how much that is these days. It's scary.
But it all comes down to the lack of knowledge. Like,
Yeah,
had you known what you know now,
yeah,
because
totally.
you almost don't want to say those things that you did before,
Yeah.
out of embarrassment. But it's like we're all just learning, aren't we? And like our generation kind of had to learn, and it's like we sit here knowing what we know, and I've still got loads to learn. Like I'm like right at the start of my journey. But you think that there's going to be people, hopefully, people that are watching and listening that need advice because they are lost, and
Yeah.
and the problem is with social media, it's made it so much worse because people know that if they use fear to market something, it's a brilliant tool to use.
Yeah.
If you use fear, you can get people to do nearly anything. So if you make something scary, whether it be a food.
The thing is, you only have to look a certain way and say a certain thing, and some people believe you.
Yeah, true. That's
So there's
true.
a lot of misinformation out there too, along with the fear mongering and the marketing side of things.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of, if you do these 100 crunches a day, you're going to lose your baby weight.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, you cannot spot target fat loss. You can't go, oh, I'm going to lose my stomach fat today. I'm going to lose my arm fat first. It doesn't work like that.
No.
It comes off where it comes off. You can tone, you can, build muscle in certain areas,
Yeah.
but you cannot target where the fat comes off first. Mine comes off my boobs first. It's like, see ya. Literally, it's like gone. So it's going to be interesting this time while I'm breastfeeding. Now I'm in a slight calorie deficit again, trying to lose a little bit of weight, a little bit of fat, to see if my boob size changes.
I'll be watching.
And the best thing that I have found when it comes to weight loss, and the most successful I've been, is since learning I've had PCOS, is leaning into that and kind of doing what works for that, and learning. I've stopped feeling like the world's against me. Well, I can't do it because, this works for them. It doesn't work for me. I've sat in the world. I've paid the money. I've, listened to I've sat in the circle. And it's just never worked for me. I think the most I ever lost at swimming world was £7. £7. And I probably spent over a year there.
Yeah. I think the thing with Slimming World is that you're not empowered, you're not given the knowledge. Everything's sort of hidden behind words and phrases like
Yeah.
sins and sin free. There's probably aspects to it that are great. The biggest part I think that I can say, that not having done it, but is the community aspect, like going somewhere,
Yeah.
meeting people. That part is great. That's probably where I'd start and end with it. Maybe
It's
like
just
the veg
too
intake.
basic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I like. This was a question that came up on the box, by the way, about Slimming World, and is the fact that you are encouraged to fill a third of your plate with fruit or vegetables, and that is how I like to live my life by. But within that, there are certain things that are off limits. So they are a very low fat kind of diet, essentially. So they demonise anything fat. So that comes as avocado, that'll come your seeds and nuts, that'll come with your olive oil, that'll come
Butter.
with butter. The things that actually
Oily fish, like salmon. That'd be interesting to know. I mean, any
possibly,
of
I
those things
can't
you've just
remember.
listed, you don't need to demonise any food groups.
You
That
don't need
is,
know, because that again can cause disordered eating depending on how you are. But don't get me wrong, Slimming World works for some people. You okay? It's all right. Slimming World does work for some people, and it worked for my mum.
yeah.
She did what she needed to do there, and I'm sure other people do. But again, if you're someone that exercises or is training and is gaining muscle, if your scale weight doesn't change, they are not taking into consideration anything else.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your turn around the circle and Nick, you've put £0.5 pound on this week. What happened? And you have to sit in front of 30 people and explain, nothing happened, hun. I did 100 squats.
Yeah.
And you have to,
Or I'm just in a different stage of my menstrual cycle.
or
Like,
haven't had a poo today.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It literally fluctuates. I mean, we did an experiment the other day, didn't we, for your course,
Yeah.
where I weighed myself before I went running. I did 25-minute run and then weighed
20 minutes.
Was it 20?
Yeah.
20-minute run.
Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. I ran. Woo! And then weighed myself again. This was to see how much sweat I lost, how much water.
Yeah, so your sweat rate, which is basically just how much water you lose during exercise, but that's like super specific to the temperature that it was that day, the activity you were doing, and the intensity you were doing it at.
But just for argument's sake, that run, I lost what?
So your sweat rate, they work. So like I worked it out that every hour. So if you were doing that for an hour, you were losing 1.5 liters of water an hour.
But what was that in the scale weight? So I literally, from 10 minutes...
It's 1.5 kilos.
1.5 kilos in 20 minutes.
Oh, no, sorry. You lost 0.5 kilo in... Sorry, I'm doing the maths up to an hour. So in 20 minutes, you lost half a kilo.
Which is crazy. So this is where like some people will manipulate the scale weight just for the reading.
Yeah.
Boxers generally do it for their weigh-ins and stuff, don't they?
Yeah,
I manipulated it for my IVF weigh-in.
Yeah.
Because I was desperate, you know, on top of everything else. I think I had hit it.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was well in, wasn't I?
Yeah.
But I did choose to not eat or drink anything for those few hours before. But yeah, it was just to kind of to say how easily it is. Like half a pound is literally nothing. I have weighed myself before and after breastfeeding, and it's ridiculous. Like you have to take weigh-ins if you aren't doing them regularly, or if you are, you know, if you aren't mentally affected by the scale weight. I think if you're bothered and it or if it affects you, bothers you, upsets you, whatever, you need to kind of stay away from that. But you need to also be aware that if you are weighing, the fluctuations change in the bloody drop of a hat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's so many factors that can change. But what the most important thing is with any weight loss journey is consistency. It's about carrying on no matter what the scale says. If that's what you want to do, if like, don't get me wrong, this isn't about everybody needs to lose weight. That's not what we're saying here. This is if you are trying to lose weight, if you are wanting to lose weight for yourself, for the right reasons, to make yourself happier, fitter, whatever, consistency is the best thing. You can't hold the microphone. You cannot. Yeah, consistency, just keeping moving forward no matter what the scale says. I would always recommend taking pictures. I've tried measurements, but personally for myself, I don't really like that method because you can never quite get it right. You could come and see somebody like Mark when you're up and running. You will be able to do body fat with the calipers, body fat measurements, and like measuring body fat alone.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing next weekend. Yeah, so I've got my first residential weekend, which is going to be interesting. That is just going to be a great tool to be able to use to be able to help people. See, numbers on a screen, they're great. Don't get me wrong. You seeing that it was going down was great. You would, you know, I'd sit in the kitchen back at our old house, and I'd cross all my fingers, and you know, because I knew how much, like, especially at that point where we were going from, you know, you'd had that target to get under the BMI, and it was like, right, we worked out how much you needed to lose every week, essentially, on average. So you're like, okay, you know, I'm crossing all my fingers and I'm hoping, and then you come in and like, it's just, you know, and because you did it on a Saturday morning, it would affect the weekend, essentially. I'd be like, oh, are we going to have a good weekend or a bad weekend? Like, you know, because I didn't want you to be down or whatever. But the bigger thing I thought personally was clothes.
Yeah, that was always a big one for me, especially having like old clothes. I was like, oh, this doesn't fit anymore. This is great.
Yeah, that was just something that I always like love seeing when you come into me and say like, look how like these didn't fit me 2 weeks ago or 6 months ago or whatever.
Yeah, that is a good tool to use, definitely. If you have a pair of jeans or literally anything. I mean, it got to a point where literally nothing fit. Even my underwear didn't fit.
So if you were to give somebody 3 tips, 3 of your top tips when it comes to weight loss, what would they be?
For me, the most valuable tool for accountability is tracking my food. I track literally everything I eat and drink if it's got calories in it. The only thing I don't track is my milk and tea and coffee, but I'm aware of what I'm having with that. But I think I probably did do that to start with.
I really hope people like baby noises in the background of their podcasts.
Don't think there's many that do this. Yeah, so tracking for me is super helpful. We literally keep our scales on our side. Don't get me wrong, if you've never tracked calories before, it is a shock to the system because it is effort to start with. It isn't effort to me at all now. Like, I can just seamlessly, weigh my food, write it down, put it in the app, and kind of figure it out very, very easily. And if you're watching this on YouTube, can you see these arms going? It's absolutely crap. I think he's trying to get the microphone in the wire. I have my macronutrients targets that I'm trying to aim for. So my priority, firstly, is my protein. Generally, then I take a lower carb approach. It's not all the way low, keto low, but it is
keto low.
But it is lower than it's definitely lower than yours.
Yeah. Well, it's not low enough to put you in ketosis.
No,
but it's just low. But that's because you're prioritizing protein
within the calories that I've got.
The calories you've got.
And then I still eat fats as well. Obviously, my split is personal to me and my goals and my weight, and also can factor in my PCOS as well. But yeah, I can kind of either plan my week. I'll usually have like meal prep. That's also probably another top tip.
Yeah, so let's get back to the top tips then. So would that be another?
Yeah, meal prepping, definitely. I feel like once I've got having meal prepped, lunches at least for me. I wouldn't necessarily always eat breakfast. I'd go maybe for a snack, then lunch later in the day before having my evening meal and another snack. But having lunches prepped was really helpful for me because when you're starving, you just want to eat something. And like, you can be rational as soon as you eat anything, even if your meal prep box isn't what you want. So my go-tos are like chicken and loads of veggies. So steamed veggies and roast veggies, and then they're usually fried up with garlic and herbs, chili and garlic go on everything.
Everything in our house.
There is no meal that cannot be improved by chili and garlic. Nothing.
Protein pancakes.
There is no savoury meal that cannot be improved by chili and garlic.
Yeah, I'll have to agree.
Bloody good.
Okay, so you've got tracking,
meal prep, finding an enjoyable sport, fitness, exercise, class, something that keeps you active, that you actually enjoy, that actually doesn't feel like effort.
Yeah.
It always is going to feel like effort because you're going to put in some effort, but it doesn't, you're not like, I gotta go and do the gym. I gotta go and get my steps in. I gotta do X, Y, Z. You don't want to find the thing that makes you feel like that. You want to pick something that fills you with joy. There was a long time I did bounce. Is that what it was called?
Boogie bounce.
So it's like trampolining, dancing.
Was this pre-bad knees?
Oh no, I don't think so. Oh, maybe. I can't remember. I've had it. We won't go there. And I loved it. It was so fun. I love lifting weights. I don't love first thing in the morning. I've never been, I'll go at 5:30 in the morning. It's never been me. That's when I don't like it. I did 2 6:30 classes last week. Cancelled one for today. I'm still learning to be an early morning mover. Bless you. But I love lifting weights. I love feeling strong. I love sweating. If I come out of a session and I haven't sweated, I'm like, it didn't work for me. Is that weird?
No, I suppose it's kind of similar to some people where they say if they don't get DOMs, they don't feel like they've done something right. But
Yeah,
um, I mean, if that works for you, if that gets you motivated, if that's what you enjoy, do it. I mean, what I thought you might have said was just generally neat, like walking,
yeah, that
being
is
because that is like a really massive lever that anyone can pull.
definitely.
Um,
In all fairness, you didn't give me any prior warning to that
I
question.
didn't. I didn't. I thought I'd throw it on you. That's something that is a massive thing. It is just 10,000 steps. Like I know that sounds really basic advice, but
But don't get hung up on the number.
no. But there is a
Any
reason
steps is
why.
better than no steps.
But there is a reason why that's like become popular. It's because you doing a gym session, you're there for an hour at most,
Yeah.
maybe, and the amount of
Still 23
calories.
hours in the day.
Yeah, the amount of calories you burn in that session, no matter what your activity tracker says, it's never that many calories. It's overplayed.
Yeah.
Um, Usually quite a lot. So yes, you do burn calories in a workout, but the majority of your calories burning are not in the gym. And
Yeah.
doing just generally little tips. I mean, they sound basic, but just parking further away
Yeah.
from when you're going shopping, taking the stairs,
Yeah.
those sort of movements, those sort of that. Do you agree? No. That attitude, that sort of life attitude, will eventually like reap benefits, especially if your nutrition is on point.
Yeah.
Shall we try and go through a few of the other
Yeah,
questions?
let's go through a few more questions. I hope that's covered enough of that. If there's any areas of those subjects that we have covered, you can always drop us a DM on Instagram at Fertility UK, or you can drop us an email at what's our email address? fertilityuk@gmail.com.
You made it. I don't know. Okay, so we'll try and. I mean, the thing is, this subject is going to be such a big subject that most people want to know, and I don't think we can really fully do it justice in one episode. So we'll probably divide it into different things eventually. We'll go deeper into different subjects, especially if people want to discuss those. But I'm still at the very beginning of my sort of nutrition knowledge. I've learned quite a bit so far, so I think I'll be able to answer most of these questions. But yeah, I think as time goes on, by the time I graduate in November this year, I'll have a lot more knowledge where I'll be able to help people more.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the first one is just intermittent fasting was just the word that someone used.
So intermittent fasting is where you go prolonged periods of time without food or drink or anything that's got a caloric amount, right?
Yeah.
I think there's various degrees of this with like the amount of hours that you decide to go. First of all, we all fast when we're sleeping. Like from our last calorie of the day to when we have our first calorie, that is hours and hours and hours of intermittent fasting, if you want to be specific.
Yeah.
Personally, for someone that's trying to hit a lower calorie target, I did find this useful. I wouldn't put a label on it, personally.
I think it helps to put labels on things sometimes. It's just not magic.
Yeah, but I don't actually know the science behind it.
Okay, so you're, from a basic point of view, you are just reducing the amount of time that you eat. That's it, really. Like from a really basic point of view. So if I give you a shorter window to eat calories, you're generally going to eat less.
Yes. What I was going to say on that is because some people are like, well, you can't have milk in your tea or coffee because you're breaking your fast.
Yeah. So I suppose this is something that I'm learning about now, where it comes to giving your body time to burn fat as fuel
instead of carbs.
So it's sort of coined like metabolic flexibility. So basically, it's your body's ability to switch between fuel sources for
Yeah.
different, depending on what you're doing throughout the day. So if you eat carbs, it's going to use that as a fuel source. But you want to be burning fat at rest. That's the ideal state. Like that would mean you're metabolically healthy if you're burning fat at rest. And a lot of people struggle. They don't. They're sort of metabolically inflexible. So having that rest is good. So yeah, when someone's saying, I think there was another question about eating after a certain time at night. There isn't really any kind of research to back that you shouldn't eat late at night. Like that is, you can. There's no like perfect time to eat food.
Because some
Basically,
people have made their own little. We all have our own little biases and their own little things that we've made up in our head. Oh, you can't eat after 6 p.m.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, you can't eat this at this time of night. Whatever. But it doesn't actually matter now.
No, it generally doesn't matter. Like it's negligible the benefits. It's really like what works for you personally,
Yeah.
and what fits your lifestyle. So, if you train late at night, if you're, I mean, I play football 8 till 9,
Yeah.
and when I come home, I want to eat.
Yeah.
It kind of benefits me to eat something to just repair after that session.
Yeah.
So I'm eating at like 9:30 at night. Now I don't usually do that any other day, but it's just that's my lifestyle,
Yeah.
so it works. It's not like gonna kill me.
No.
I think people focus way too much on when this, that, and the other rather than what. I guess.
I remember hearing a thing. I don't know how true this is, and I don't know whether you'd be able to answer it right now. But if you eat half an apple before bed, it keeps your metabolism going.
Off the top of my head, I don't know whether I can refute that straight away, but it doesn't sound like it's sort of evidence based.
No, I
That
wouldn't say
kind of
so.
thinking. So intermittent fasting basically, you are shortening the window in which you eat. Like there's nothing
Yeah.
magical happening if you have milk in your coffee. It ain't gonna kill you.
Which I did do.
It's all about like the end of the day. It's really annoying for people, but anything you do, whether it be Slimming World, keto, paleo, if you lose weight, it's because you created a calorie deficit. And I know there's so many people online that are saying that, which is great. But
It's just how you package it, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, it is that simple, but obviously there's many mechanisms that get you there. So intermittent fasting, if you want to use it as a tool, great. It's one
So
of those.
I like to use it as a tool.
Yeah.
Having a lower calorie target for the day that I was aiming for, I like big portions. I like to feel full. I don't want to feel hungry. So I would rather wait, skip breakfast / intermittent fast, and have a bigger lunch and a bigger dinner because I've saved 3, 4, 500 calories on breakfast that I can now spread over 2 more meals. So I'm then can afford to have a 5, 6, 700 calorie meal, on one of those if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Or both of those if I wanted to.
The biggest thing here, which you've said there, is something you can adhere to. So, like, it's
Yeah.
not
It worked
sexy.
for me.
Yeah, it's not sexy to say that, but the biggest, sort of the biggest changes you're going to make are things that you can stick to.
Yeah.
That's the truth. So, like, if intermittent fasting really works for you, the fact that the way you described it there, where you're essentially saving calories from eating breakfast, if you can get away with it and you go, I like to eat big meals, I like to feel full.
Yeah.
That's you telling me what you want. Okay, let's work with that. If you're someone that goes, do you know what? I love eating and I want to eat often.
Regularly,
I want to
yeah.
eat regularly. Okay, so let's try and make your meals, smaller meals, spread them out throughout the day. That might work for you if you can still achieve the same calorie deficit.
Because there's 5 small meals a day, people. It could have been me.
Well,
It could have been me. I don't think, I feel like, what's next?
Yeah.
We've got a little sign on where we always go, thank you next.
Yeah. Yeah, I just got Ariana in my head, just
Yeah.
go, thank you next.
Literally, it's like finish something, it's like thank you next. Where's the
Yeah.
next one coming? Because I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
And there's only so much water you can drink to fill yourself up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we should probably do, we can do an episode on like the kind of foods that sort of make you feel like that. And then foods that obviously you can help. I mean,
Yeah.
just quickly, protein, you know, it kind of gets demonized a little bit now. But it's just such a powerful tool to use.
Yes.
It's going to make you feel more full.
Fuller for longer.
Yeah, than any other macronutrient. And that's just obviously from a weight loss point of view, but from an overall health point of view, it's important to have it a lot higher than what people are recommending, which we can eventually talk about.
Yeah, I eat quite a lot of protein.
So someone's asked, what should their macros be? It's just very individualized. I don't think, you know,
This is why I'm very wary of saying my numbers, because I'm aware that they are low. I wouldn't want somebody to say, just do what I do, because that isn't necessarily what's going to work for them.
Yeah, I think you need to.
I think you would have a heart attack if you ate my calories.
Yeah, I wouldn't be happy. Oh, my mood would drop massively.
Yeah.
Yeah, my energy levels would go. And these are all things that people don't factor in when they're, you
Yeah.
know, going to go on a weight loss journey. The side effects, you know, your body's so smart. Like if you go into a calorie deficit by a few hundred calories, your body might start not moving spontaneously as much to counteract that.
Yeah.
So that's another way you might not be losing weight. But I'm in a calorie deficit. You know, I've cut my calories, and it's like, yeah, well, your body might have reacted. You might not fidget as much. You might be a fidgeter. Like I'm
Yeah.
quite a fidgeter. I do everything I can not to fidget while we're recording. But I like love a jig while I'm sitting down. My dad's the same.
Yeah.
But that's, again, that can be classed as like a genetic thing that you pass on. So, you know, we're fidgeters essentially. And that's helped. That's a part.
You're a lot of things.
But like those little things like that people don't pay attention to, like even just like facial expressions, all these things.
Yeah.
That, you know, they are burning calories.
Yeah.
So
when you eat less, your body protects itself by doing less, non-consciously, unconsciously.
Yeah. So you've got NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Yeah.
Which sort of encompasses both things like walking, but then blinking, fidgeting, all those things are incorporated into that, which is why.
That's how it builds up about 80% of your total daily energy expenditure, I believe.
Yeah, I imagine it takes up a lot of it.
You know, your exercise, your planned fun gym session, your horse riding, your swimming, whatever is your chosen activity, is such a small portion of your day, which is why we were saying earlier about getting your steps in and getting, active without really realizing you're being active throughout the day is so important, because it's a huge chunk of where your energy is being spent.
Yeah,
but when
massively.
You do drop your calories, you could naturally stop doing those things, or you might not get up as early, or you might want to go to bed earlier, or, you know, and all those things burn calories. Us being awake here now, us, you know, talking, it's burning energy. It's taking energy to do this.
Yeah.
And that energy is fueled by calories.
Yeah.
And I think that like people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's quite a simple system, but it's annoying. Like the stuff we'll talk about generally isn't like sexy, it isn't like easy to market and sell, and like, you know, do this juice plan, do this, take this supplement, and you'll be.
Oh, we did juicing for a while as well. Remember that? Oh,
yeah,
gross.
Yeah, we do everything. If you look
Wasn't
back
for me.
No, but I think it's good to just share this. It's good to share that, you know, like people will see, you know, people that have followed you, they'll go, oh, she's lost the weight, like it's all right for her. Be like, you've tried many different ways, and it's took a while to get to the right place.
We were talking about this the other day in the car, weren't we? And I was basically saying about, like, I'm heavier now than I was pre-pregnancy, but I'm also now not as heavy as I was before losing any of the weight. I'm my heaviest, but I'm like almost ashamed to share those original photos, and I don't plaster them all over the internet like, you know, I probably could do, because of this like shame almost. I don't even know why. Like, I got to where I got to because of various things, and that was who I was. That was my body. I was happy. I was confident. I was, all these things. Feel like people could easily look at you and go, like, but why did you even get there? Like, can't believe you were that big. A bit of like fat shaming, really. And you kind of worry that people are going to judge you for being that bigger person or being a bigger person. I shouldn't have got to where I got to. People may think things like that, but I've worked really hard to get to where I am now. Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Like, when I look back.
I don't think you should be ashamed to share those. And, if you had comments like that,
Which I never did.
No, but I don't think you would, to be honest with you. But even if you did, you've got so many reasons for it beyond belief, and it's like it comes down to, obviously, we're not going to go into all the different issues, but some of it is that lack of knowledge,
Yeah,
and like understanding. And why should you have that understanding? Because it's a really fucking complicated thing that PCOS in general.
yeah,
But that's where we want to try and help people like not feel that way, not feel lost, not feel completely like annoyed and think, well, it's all right for X, Y, Z, or why are all my friends skinny and we all go out to bottomless brunch together and
we all eat
I'm
and
the
drink the
only
same thing.
I'm
Yeah,
the only big gal. Like, that's really fucking annoying. Like, why is that?
yeah,
There could be many reasons. Like, we occasionally touch on PCOS, but there's so many different issues
yeah,
that people go through that they don't even realize. So that's what I'm learning about now. Really, just like there's a multitude of reasons.
yeah.
So it's gonna be really good to help people.
But that's why finding your macros is so individual.
Yeah, that's where that came from. That conversation. Yes,
Tangent.
yeah.
So there is a generic
There's calculators online. There's
calculators.
calculators online. You can calculate your BMR roughly by timesing your body in kilos, your weight in kilos, timesing that by, as a woman, 22 and a man 24. That will give you a rough idea of your BMR, but obviously that's still not accounting for the other little facets that go into the day of burning calories. But it's a good start. Like, it's a great start, but I think you have to just like find a set point.
And then, so you find your BMR, let's say it's 2000. And then,
Well, it might not be that high, but let's say you put your details into a calorie calculator, which totals your total calorie, not just your BMR.
these
And it
aren't
says,
always accurate though, so don't take
no,
these as Bible.
but let's say it turns out 1900. Let's say.
Okay,
We'll
so
start there.
£1 a week equates to
3,500
yeah
calorie
deficit.
But like, a pound a week doesn't have to be the target,
No, but that's a good place for people to know, like, kind of where to drop from, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, it worked for you. We knew the numbers, like we got into the numbers. So eventually, like, this isn't something, and again, this is like where we were talking back on the first episode where we were talking about support. Like, I really
Yeah,
wanted to help and I really like got into it. And I think that doesn't always have to be the case for people. Like, you don't need to have somebody with you that's like holding your hand, not that I held your hand, but
sometimes.
you need someone. I think it does help if you've got support. And
Yeah,
what I'm trying to get to is that we would total up your calories for the week,
yeah,
and we kind of knew where you were at that point, like how, if you'd eaten, say, I don't know, 9,000 calories that week or 10,000 calories, what the kind of weight loss might be.
yeah.
Obviously, it's not an exact science, because let's say, okay, we were talking about 3,500 calories. So that would, if you are in a 3,500 calorie deficit over
Over
a
a
week,
week, not a day.
um,
Christ.
over a week, you'd lose a pound of body weight fat a week. But let's say you go, well, if I did that for 10 weeks, I'd lose £10. It doesn't work like that. Like we were saying, like, you adapt. So, like, First
Yeah.
of all, what we were saying earlier, you might fidget less, you might,
Yeah.
not move and not burn as many calories, you might not have the energy, you might miss a workout here or there or whatever. Then then you weigh less,
Yeah.
and people don't factor that in. So like the calories it takes to move your body around at that weight is now less.
Yeah.
If you're taking part in a sport and you get more efficient at that sport, whether it be running or whatever, you burn less. Like people have got these
You
calorie
adapt. Yeah.
counters on there, and I burnt 1,000 calories, and they've been running for 2 years. You aren't burning 1,000 calories. Your body, you've got really efficient. Your body's got so efficient at that activity.
Yeah.
You're now burning less. So there's so many different. It's not easy. It's simple, but it isn't easy.
If you're finding that you've done the calculators and you're not, it's not working, whatever, on calories that you've been spat out online, because that's never been the case for me, I would recommend downloading something that you can track your calories in. Like I personally like MyFitnessPal. Track for a good week everything you eat, weigh everything, your sauces, your milk, the bits you don't even think about, the mouthful cookie here and there,
The wine.
the wine, measure it, weigh it, scan it in, do the lot. See what you eat, see what you're actually eating, just without thinking, just a normal week. Don't try and make changes. See on average what you are eating per week. Then reduce down 100 to 200 calories per day for the following week. See if you lose any weight. Nothing, maybe drop it another 100 or 50 to 100 calories depending on where you were at. If you stayed the same, then drop it another 100 calories a day. But you might find, I'm only eating 1,600 calories a day. But actually, when you track everything, you're eating 2,100 calories a day over the week.
Yeah.
Or, you're eating 16, 17, 1,800 calories in the week. But over the weekend, you're eating 3,500 calories a day. Easily done.
Yeah.
Really easily done. A meal out, right? Meal out, easy over 1,000 calories, 2,000 calories if you're drinking.
Yeah, well, especially now you see the calories on menus as well.
It puts me right off. I would eat a dirty burger in a pub.
Yeah.
Now I see like 1,300 calories. I'm like, oh, and
that's
without a glass of wine.
That's without the chips.
That's without the chips. That's without that's without a garlic bread. Whatever. And I'm like, oh no, can't do it. I'll make a different choice. Do you want the garlic bread? Over a weekend, eating, 3,500 calories for a Saturday and 3,500 calories on a Sunday when you're hungover and you're ordering God knows what on delivery, easily done.
Yeah.
Easily done. So if you're being good 5 days a week, but then eating like an absolute hungry hippo at the weekend, you're done for. And I know that because I've done it. But I'm good in the week. Or what will happen is, not necessarily you won't lose any weight, you won't gain any weight, you'll just stay the same.
Yeah.
That might just keep you in maintenance. So yeah, track your own and minus from there, because I think that's the best way to figure out where you're at. We've swapped positions.
Desperate to be in it, isn't it? Yeah, so there
will be an episode where he's not here.
Oh no, well, yeah, we'll see. One day.
Let's do one more and then we'll call it a day on this one, because we could go on and on and on forever with this.
So a couple of people asked about carbs. So basically, can I eat carbs and lose weight? So just quickly, yes, it's all about calories in, calories out. Like you can create the ideal diet, don't get me wrong, and carbs aren't essential. They're not essential. You can, we won't get into the science of it too much, but you can basically
right now.
Yeah. you don't need carbs. They're not essential. But
they're tasty as hell.
But life isn't worth living if you don't need carbs, in my opinion.
We need pasta. We need potatoes.
It's bread as well. Oh.
We love bread.
So don't be afraid of eating carbs. Just
carbs do make you retain water.
Yes, so for every 1 gram of carbohydrate you eat, you'll take 3 grams of water
Just bear that in mind, because I have now been tracking my food for nearly a week, and with tracking, with my accountability, I have naturally dropped carbs quantity. I'm still eating, around 200 grams of carbs a day, which is a lot really for me, because I was going down to, around 100 before. But 200 really isn't a lot in a lot of people's worlds.
No, but we learned a little bit more on the women's health lecture that we went to last year about the importance of carbs for women in
Yeah.
particular,
Yeah.
and the role it plays with estrogen. Especially when you're exercising, like you want to be performing at your best. If you're someone who, again, there was another question about not eating before a workout. It really depends. It's not essential, because you will have glycogen storage within your muscles and liver. So those things, it's not essential for you to not. But if you're doing anything like high intensity for a long period of time, you're going to want to have some carbs before you work out. Especially if I was going to the gym, if I was going to a CrossFit workout, I know you've trained fasted before, but to perform at your best, you ideally want to be getting some sort of carbs in.
Yeah.
But again, like it's all dependent. Like if you find that you're all right doing that and your performance
Your
doesn't
body
dip,
adapts as well, doesn't
if
it?
you're someone who, I perform great fasted,
Yeah.
well,
Crack on.
do it,
Yeah.
because actually that's going to work better for you from a fat loss point of view, because you're
Yeah.
not eating as many calories. Great. But if you're someone that needs or feels like you need to, then definitely don't be afraid of eating carbs.
I was just saying, before you're rudely interrupted, sorry, about my tracking this week, and I've dropped my carbs.
Yes.
From an overall point of view, I have noticed I'm de-swelling. And I
Right.
always find that that's like my first port of call. Maybe a bit of water retention is disappearing now. I've dropped my carbs slightly. It's not really reflecting in the scale weight for me at the moment, because obviously it's still breastfeeding, and I'm not just taking that as Bible. I'm going to just more go on my clothes and stuff like that. But I am going to keep an eye on my weight on scales, which I'll be documenting on the Instagram account as well. But yeah, I do have noticed, since lowering my carb intake and generally just lowering my calorie intake in general, I do feel like I'm leaning out. And that be like I'm depuffing. I do always say things like that, but puffy face and swelling and stuff like that and bloating is all part of PCOS as well. I do feel like I'm de-swelling, so it'll be interesting to see what the scale weight says this week, having dropped the calories and the carbs slightly, just to see if that's reflected from a scale point of view. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting for people to follow what you're doing,
Yeah.
because I think it's just you. You're not going to be preachy, but you're also really honest about what you're doing, which is individual.
Except with the numbers, where I don't like to be honest. Not that
Yeah,
I'm not honest, I just don't. I keep them fairly secret, but that is mostly because I don't want people to get hung up on my numbers.
I don't think you should be afraid to share
No.
personally. No, with that caveat, this is my numbers. I don't think you're going to promote things like, if someone wants to go and try and eat 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories or whatever,
Yeah.
like they're going to soon figure out whether that's going to be for them or not quickly. So I don't think you're not putting anybody at risk by being like honest with the calories you're eating.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
just
think.
got everyone's best interest at heart here.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But I think that it's people feel lost. You don't want to feel like you're gatekeeping information from people. Like you look at someone else and you go, how do they do that? Whatever. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
being honest and transparent is going to help people, but also like explaining the mechanisms behind it, how it works, or we've tried to do a little bit of that today. Obviously, we've done it on a very basic level, and we could go deeper for sure. And I'll definitely be able to have more understanding as time
Yeah.
goes on. Like, you know,
When we get to a point where we're taking clients on, it's going to be so in depth and so personalized to you. So it's going to be great to, really, really help people on an individual level. I'm really excited by that.
yeah, me too. Me too. It's gonna be good.
Anything else to wrap up today?
I felt like we've covered most things. I think there's been a question regarding PCOS, but I feel like
We need to do a whole episode on that, really.
Yeah, it feels like that deserves more time than
Yeah,
we've
that's
got.
fine.
Yeah, I think that's it, really. Someone's just put keto, and I mean, it's
Keto is no carbs.
yeah, it's just
It's not
another.
fun.
You know what? If you really enjoy it,
It's
crack
basically
on.
Atkins.
Yeah,
It's the new Atkins.
Yeah, it's just another label on things. Like, don't feel like you don't need to buy into some special program. Like, you really don't. But if
Nope.
you find that that works for you, crack on, enjoy.
Unless it's
But
unhealthy
it's not special.
when it comes to things like that.
Yeah.
But no pills, no teas, no injections,
No fat freezes.
no fat treatments. Don't bother.
No.
Don't even bother.
Stop wasting your money.
Yep. Just come to us instead.
Save it for when we're ready.
Yeah. It's we're going to be here to help, and in the meantime we're here to help. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, sharing.
I think following on Spotify.
All the things that you can do would be great.
It would be great.
And we hope to hear you. We hope that you hear us again.
Let's hope it recorded.
We hope to see you again. And yeah, catch you on the next one.
Bye.